Is this supposed to be here? It was under the lunch trolley.
Oh dear.
Alright everyone, it's time to find out if I'm in or out on the Phoenician scheme. In the Phoenician scheme, Zsa-zsa Korda is a wealthy businessman with a sketchy past, to say the least. Having dodged his most recent assassination attempt, Korda decides to name his own daughter Leisl, a nun, his sole heir. However, as Korda embarks on a new venture that he believes will properly secure his legacy, Leisl follows suit. Believing that Korda knows the man who killed her mother, she stays close to her father in the hopes of seeing justice finally done. However, they soon become the target of international terrorists and tycoons who would do anything to prevent Korda from completing his goal. Alright, let's get this out of the way first. If you're not a fan of Wes Anderson's work, the Phoenician scheme is going to do nothing to change your mind. That all of his favorite tropes are on display here, whether it's straight camera panning, perfectly symmetrical cinematography, or expressionless performances. Each one of these things, while can be visually stunning, but is designed to keep the viewer at a certain level of distance, preventing them from getting emotionally invested in the performances. Scheme is bathed in neutral colors like black and beige that feel like the film is stuck in neutral. Well, colors, that is. However, this does seem to work with the rather reflective or self-reflective mood within the film.
I suppose I'm moved by this absurd performance.
Which is why I was so surprised by the Phoenician scheme, because all of the things that I don't like about Anderson are fully on display, as I said earlier. However, there was something about this film that drew me in. As Korda, Benicio del Toro is actually kind of fascinating in this film, as he is playing a man who is looking back on his life and trying to make amends and leave a lasting legacy towards the future.
I've appointed you sole heir to my estate, which you may come into sooner rather than later.
However, whether or not he can accomplish that is another thing entirely. You see, Korda has a mountain of skeletons in his closet, and that makes his relationship with young Leisl all that more interesting. You see, as much as he is his daughter, there is something else happening in this relationship as he slowly begins to unburden his secrets upon her, as if in some sort of confessional. You see, it's not just father-daughter, it's also congregant and priest in some ways as the film goes on. Credit must be given, of course, to young Maya Threapleton, who is Kate Winslet's daughter, if you're unaware. As she keeps that stoic demeanor, she seems on the edge of both calm and fury. She wants to give her life into spiritual service, but she seems to be enjoying following her father around and these dances with his dark side.
Suicide pedal.
Where's for father? Take this miserable sinner into the company.
And that's actually what makes them so interesting, is that they actually appear to be trying to mentor one another, giving each other space to grow while still looking for support where they can find it.
Korda Land and Sea Phoenician Infrastructure Scheme, my most important project of my lifetime.
And it's on this level that I found Anderson's work actually fairly interesting. Is it possible that the now veteran filmmaker is starting to look back on his life and weigh its summation? Because there is sort of a self-reflection going on with these characters as they wrestle with what they have done and what they want to do and leave behind. It's entirely possible, but of course we can never know for sure.
One thing you'll never know because you can't. The truth.
However, your enjoyment of this film may depend entirely of your willingness to engage his films in the past. If you're a fan of his style, this might be something that you find particularly intriguing. But if you found him annoying, this may be one scheme that you choose to avoid.
Why are you shooting my ceiling?
This is a robbery on behalf of...
I understand that. I'm asking about my ceiling. You idiots are destroying a magnificent nightclub.
The Phoenician scheme is available wide on June 6th, 2025.